Ready? Good evening. The time is 5:32. I will now call the December 17th, 2025 meeting of the Committee of the Whole of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a seat. Roll call. We have a quorum. We have 8 councilors. Is one on the, he's not, okay. The next agenda item is unfinished business. There is none. We will now have new business with proposal number 7, 2025, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, adopting a code of ethics. This proposal was referred to this committee by the council. Do councilors have any questions or comments?
Madam President,
Yes.
yeah, if I
Counsel.
may, I read the, as much as I could read without my eyes bleeding, the original Code of Ethics, and it's pretty lengthy. But something that, I think I was one of the ones that, or maybe I was the one that brought some of this to light, that concerns me is seeing city employees being on multiple boards and commissions, especially as voting and paying members on these different boards and commissions. One in particular that was brought to my attention was the Board of Works. And we have 2 city employees on the Board of Works. I mean, I understand inherently that's always been a vote for whatever the mayor's wishes is, and it's been that way for years and years and years. However, I think by having city or paid city employees just takes it to the next level, which to me I don't think is a very good look. Another concern is having multiple people, or I'm sorry, the same people on multiple boards and commissions. I would like to see that being limited, to one person per one board or commission. There's a lot of people in our city that I'm sure would love to have some involvement in what goes on in Lawrence government. But, when you have the same people on multiple boards, that's just, because there are just so many positions. And the other concern I have is having law firms or representatives of law firms representing people on, say, for an example, the BZA board, and getting a zoning appeal or whatever have you in front of the board, and them being on different boards and commissions. I think that I just don't think that that's in the best interest, and I just don't think it's a good look. So that was one of my concerns, and I hope that we can possibly address some of these concerns in this proposal.
Okay. I think on page 9, you might see it on the conflicts, but you can look at that and tweak it.
I'm sorry?
Under conflicts on page 9 of the
Right.
Code of Ethics, you can look at that. Thank you so much. Councilor Masur.
I wanted clarification about, on the first page, I had sent some questions out, and on the first page, it says section 1-3-2-6, employment restrictions. An official appointee or employee shall not knowingly accept other employment involving compensation of substantial value if the responsibilities of that employment, A, require the individual's recusal from matters so central or critical to the performance of the individual's official duties that the individual's ability to perform those duties would be substantially impaired. And I'm wondering, does that kind of connect with what Rick was saying? Or, so, if there could be clarification, like an example of this, and so I understand better what it means, would, for example, our attorney be able to
Yeah.
explain?
Mike,
What-
you be able to give her? Here it is right here.
Yeah.
That's the restrictions.
Yeah, I think, Councilor Masur, I think we were talking about really the language here is referring to conflicts between your title job and another sort of position. I can't think of a situation in which that would happen. That's what you're asking for, a specific example. I can't think of one, but it does dovetail into what Councilor Wells is talking about regarding if you have your employment job, your title job, you're in another sort of situation which would interfere with you being able to do your job as an employee in any sort of way, recusing yourself from votes, recusing yourself from work. That's going to be something that would be substantially hindering your employment. That'd be a conflict. You should not be allowed to do both of those things. But I can't think of a permanent example.
I do have an example, like, for example, the chief of staff is also the, on the RDC board. Is that something that this relates to or not? I'm asking for clarification.
I think it would depend upon what is coming before the RDC in any particular matter, and then what are the duties of the chief of staff of the administration at that time. I can see situations that would not be, I can see situations that would be. I think that would be a case-by-case situation of what's happening.
You can't hear.
Can't hear you. Speak up.
You sit up front.
Yeah,
I'm a little closer.
I can go to the podium.
Yeah, that's fine.
Point of order, though, you can't just be standing there talking.
Sorry, Michael Allen, Frost Brown Todd. Regarding your situation, you made the comment regarding the chief of staff position and then being a member of the RDC board. I think on its face, it's hard to say whether or not that'd be an automatic per se conflict of interest or violation. I think that depends on what comes before the RDC at any particular matter. So I think it would be a case-by-case situation. But yes, going back for those who could not hear about your first matter, yes, I believe that section you're referring to does dovetail into Councilor Wells' comment regarding conflicts of interest. Yes, and that's covered in some sections of the Code of Ordinances.
Thank
But,
you.
yeah, I was not able to really think of an example of in which that would come up. But yes, that's something that would need to be considered at every time regarding employments.
I have a question for the attorney. Does what we do here have any latitude to all boards and commissions in this city, or like, say, the RDC or, the Reuse Authority and the other boards? Are they outside of our purview, or do you know?
Well, I mean, all boards are governed by state statute or local ordinances about how they're constructed, their approvals and such, including this board, which is governed by a statute. So yes, to a degree, they're all outside of their purview. However, as we realize and know that some actions of other boards may need to come before here for approval and consideration and such.
Right.
So that's sort of the checks and balance, but there's no one board that is above, superior, any of the others. They are created independently, but may need to be working cooperatively at any given point in time, if that makes sense. That they're all created under their own specific authorization provisions that are outside of the scope mostly of any other board or body.
Well, let me ask you one other question, if I may. Is there any and I think I already know the answer to this question, I just want to hear it in public, that if we pass some legislation, whatever we pass, whether it be this or, say proposal 2, on the cap for the Board of Works, anything that we do here, and it's not adhered to, we really don't have any recourse. I mean, there is no, this is what we can do because the administration doesn't want to do it and they keep on doing it. Would that be a fair statement? Well, I mean, that's the only thing we can do is not pay the bills. But unfortunately, that sometimes can be drastic, but maybe that's our only solution.
Yeah, I would say if you're asking for any sort of, it would be challenge for this board or any board to have any sort of say or be able to provide any sort of reprimands on any other boards that are not following the will of the other. If they're within their guidelines or they're authorized and given enacted powers, and that's in their right. Unless, again, as we discussed, if it's RDC, if it's a reuse authority or whatever, they have a matter that needs to come before here, which is
Right.
statutorily required, that's a different story, but until and unless then, that the answer to that is no.
Well, I know, and I don't know if this is really under the purview of, like, say, proposal 2 in the Board of Works with that cap of $5,000. I know there's been a number of things voted on and passed that far exceeded $5,000. And I'm sure there was some, reason as to why our cap didn't pertain to what they voted on. But I think we all know what the gist of what the council was trying to do. And to me, that's just another reason why we're up here right now with this code of ethics, I think. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Attorney. Okay, Liz Massour.
I'm just talking about on the section, Chapter 3, review of ethical conduct, where it's mandating that people have training requirements. And has that ever been done before? And is it something that we would be able to, do we have any control over that? And I'm just concerned about people disliking this, employees. It says that all officials, appointees, employees shall be properly trained in the code of ethics as described in this chapter. And I'm just wondering if that's a common practice and if it is something that we should.
Can I, Madam
Yes,
Chair?
yes, Counselor.
So, I mean, I would hope that the city would have its own employee training. As a city, I know there's required training. I think that, I don't know if it's in the scope or if it is the city's responsibility to train the council. Typically, if we have training that we want, we have our council attorneys provide us that training, or AIM. There's lots of ways that the council could get that training. I don't know if the city, I can't speak for them, but I don't know if they have the bandwidth to do their own required training and then do the council's training. I think it's our responsibility as a body that if we want to see certain training for our body, that we make provisions for that training. But that's just my thought.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Giles.
Yeah, I believe the city attorney may have some insight to add to this as well.
Okay.
If I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, councilors. Amber Finley, Corporation Counsel for the City of Lawrence. Thank you, Councilor Giles, for inviting me up, and thank you, President Robinson, for allowing me to speak. In regards to training such as open door law. We did last year. I invited the former Indiana Public Access Counselor Luke Britt to come out and put on a training about the open door law, Access to Public Records Act, and he gave a lot of information, shared that with our department heads because we want to make sure that we're always in compliance with the open door law and the Access to Public Records Act. The new public access counselor is still, she's new to the role, but hopefully we're able to have her out as well. And that's something that I would love to invite the council to as well once that happens.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And can I just say one more thing? In the ethics ordinance, and I want to first say that the city is supportive of having an ethics ordinance, not against it at all. Just wanting to have something that's going to work for the city of Lawrence. I know that this is modeled after the city of Indianapolis's ethics ordinance, and I've noticed that, even with the corporation counsel or the corporation counsel's office is mentioned about 39 times in this document. And so I'd love to have a conversation with you all about how can we make that work. The corporations counsel's office here in Lawrence you're looking at it. And so in Indianapolis, of course, there's, I believe, 30-plus assistant corporation counsels and 15-plus staff that are non-attorneys. And so I would love the opportunity to be at the table with you as we work through this and just finding something that fits the city of Lawrence.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I assume that you guys have been able to go through this, and we're in committee now. If there are some red lines or some issues that you guys would like to provide to us so that we can consider, I think that I would encourage that.
Okay, definitely. I'd also welcome Adam if he wanted to come down.
If you want to share that, share that with us now.
Adam Mills is an attorney with Taft Law, who we've been working together, looking through this. We received it last week, so trying to redline it and get something that, like I said, fully support, having an ethics ordinance, just making sure that it is what the city of Lawrence can handle, when you look at resources. And so just keeping that or taking that into consideration. So.
Good evening, counselors. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name's Adam Mills. I am an attorney with Taft Law. We were asked by the mayor's administration to take a look at the ethics ordinance. And, as a threshold matter, first main point, the mayor is not, is obviously very supportive of an ethics ordinance, right? I think the issue is that it was received last week, and we've gone through, we've done our, given a review and made some comments and identified a few holes. I think the administration would like to have the opportunity to voice those concerns and provide and have an actual dialogue with you all about how things actually work on a day-to-day level. What are the practical impacts of different sections in here? The city of Lawrence is not Indianapolis, right? We looked at Indianapolis' ethics ordinance and nearly verbatim, right? And as you guys just heard, there are limitations here. There are significant resource issues that make the actual implementation of some of the things listed in here very difficult. And so, I won't belabor the point, but as you heard, Office of Corporation Counsel mentioned nearly 40 times, right? The attorney here the office is one person. There's a lot of tasks and responsibilities that are placed on Amber that are going to need a lot of resources. She's going to need some help. I don't have a red line copy for you right now. I do have notes though. I think a major a major glaring hole that I did note is that, as drafted, counselors are excluded, not mentioned in the definitions. And I think if you're going to have an ethics ordinance, for public confidence, public confidence in the integrity of government, I guess my question would be, how can,
I want to answer this.
how can you have ethics rules for a city?
Oh, I want to answer this. We had a lot to say. How are you, first? My name is Terrell Giles. I've been a counselor for 10 years, so I have a whole lot to say. First of all, we're all up here very, very aware that Lawrence is not Indianapolis, right? So we're very aware of that. So if we don't, I don't know, do you live here in Lawrence?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so we're aware of that. So I want to make you sure you appreciate that. The other big thing is you just spoke, I was very patient, you spoke for quite several minutes saying that this was about resources. The mayor is very supportive of an ethics agreement. Amber said the same thing, you said the same thing. I patiently waited to hear what was going to be the glaring hole that was going to cost us money and that was going to put extra work on Miss Amber. And if I had a priority list, and I know you haven't redlined it, but you gave me the first one, and the first one's full of crap. Because we don't touch the books. We don't, the ethic part of it, like what brings resources, so first of all, putting ethics on me don't cost the city a dime. And not putting ethics on me don't cost the city a dime. So to say that first makes everything else you say to me skeptical, at least. The second piece of this is we don't touch the book. I've been here 10 years, I ain't never been in Gateway, any of the things, like we're not here for the working, we're part-time counselors. So when I read the ethics part of it, there's a few pieces of it that could work to us, decorum, a couple of things. But most of this, it's about the people that do the work. Like, I don't understand what part of this, if you said to me, we want to put it on me, on us, where would you start?
I guess I'm trying to make sure I understand your question.
Well, the first is not a question. The first is some statements. The first statement is, I'll make it real clear for you. The first thought is, you said that having an ethics ordinance would bring cost on to Ms. Amber, and it's 40 times she's mentioned. The first statement you bring up is basically about equitableness of if the ethic rules are going to apply to one side, they should apply to another. That has nothing to do with cost. And so when but you talk for 5 minutes in circles about cost and how it's going to be a burden on her, but the first thing you gave me was cultural, which makes me now not really pay attention as much to the cost. And so it seems like BS, right? I call it straight up. Because if it's about money, you bring the money first, you talk about how I feel later. But if you put feelings first, it's about feelings, right? And so that's where now you started off with, on the wrong foot, in my opinion. So clear that up for me.
I apologize if you believe that I started out on the wrong foot. I think my delivery was
So let's talk money. Let's talk money, not feelings. How is it going to cost her? Because we know for a fact she's one person in. We know for a fact she has limited resources. Let's talk money. Because we don't have no money. So we don't want to put no extra money on the city.
And Counselor, are you asking me to put a specific dollar amount?
Well, you just told me that it was going to cost her resources and she
Well, it
needed
will cost
help.
resources.
Help is money. So let's talk about how it's going to strain her and pull her from her other duties that are more priority than her following a bunch of ethic rules.
I wouldn't say, so Counselor Giles, I want to say, we want to follow the ethics rules, definitely, and not.
Well, the ones that are too burdensome on you. I'm saying, what?
I think that it's just the idea of, if you have limited resources, you have limited individuals that can manage this work, because there's work that has to be done. So I'll give an example. Training requirements. The Office of Corporation Counsel shall prepare and administer the training required by this section. Each agency's chief administrative officer, this would be, I would assume, be switched to department heads, shall require all new appointees and employees to participate in ethics training, require all appointees and employees to participate in ethics training at least every 2 years. The Office of Corporation Counsel shall maintain this documentation to demonstrate an appointees and employees' compliance with subdivisions 1 and 2. So that's one example. The Office of Corporation Counsel in the very next section.
Could you slow down there? So ethics
I was
training,
gonna-
that's a good one.
How much are you
So
talking?
ethics training would be for the city staff
City staff and also appointees.
and appointees,
So every-
right? And the whole key to this is we want those people to be ethical, right? And you can't expect anybody to be accountable for anything you do without training them. So that's a cost to bring it to the table. But that's a cost, but then I also throw, we got 2 people that work events. They can help you with some planning, I'm sure.
Well, as written, this just says. the Office
Does
of
anybody
Corporation
disagree up here? I'm
Counsel-
going to anybody chime in, I don't want.
Well, as written,
As written,
it's written, it said a certain thing, but this is, I would agree, this is a point where we could come to the table and figure out who's gonna actually help you, do the work that.
Well, it's not our job to run the administrative part of how they run their business.
There are a bunch of cities that where when they work on the budget, when they do things, for the next year, that a council member is on there. Maybe we need to consider that.
No, I'm talking about the signing of duties. I'm talking about the work within the running of the running of the city, right? And how the duties be signed and what has to be done. I have, as a council, in my humble opinion, it's not our responsibility to tell you guys what to do and not to, or how to do it. But it is our responsibility to say, this is what we want our city to be, right? And then you guys figure out how to implement that. And the other thing we're mostly over is the money. And if this is gonna cost us or put the budget where we need to go get ask for, go get my mind, I'm sorry, but get more,
Additional
appropriation,
There you go.
right? Then that's something that we can address, right? But we can't address feelings, right?
So
And there we go, sorry.
We can stay with just the money, the resources,
Right.
the work for
There-
now.
right.
We can start there. And even continuing on, so there's an economic statement of interest that's required. This has to be managed by someone. Advisory opinions would now need to be provided by the Office of the Corporation Counsel.
So,
And I'm just going through.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. So, Madam Clerk, we do an economic statement of interest as counselors. So we already have that as part of something that we do annually. It's just a piece of paper, and we sign it. We answer the question, sign it. So I think we're just looking at having that, spread broader, but we already do that. And maybe you all might do that, I'm not sure if the staff does that or not.
So I know that you're referring to nepotism in contracting. There's statutorily, you have to
Yeah.
provide that to the executive every year before the year ends. This is a little bit different. This would be in addition to that, not taking the place of that.
Right.
That you're requesting. And so fully understand it. And again, I will say, I'm not opposed, I'm not trying to shoot down anything that's in this ethics ordinance, but I would just ask before this is passed, that we can meet and go through.
We're in a committee meeting now. This is a committee of a whole.
But we've only had 1 week since this was presented to us.
Right.
I think, can we not have a dialogue?
We could table this and have another
I would
committee
appreciate
meeting.
that. That's all that I'm asking.
I'm just saying, get it all out now, though. I don't
Right.
want, I don't want us to have another meeting behind closed doors. Let's get the
Right,
meeting,
no, and I don't
let's
want- I
discuss
don't-
ethics
Discuss in
in public,
Right,
right?
and I'm perfectly fine with this. That's why I made sure I raised my hand.
And I also say that Indianapolis has had this ethic rule for a decade,
Yeah, many years.
right?
They have.
And so I imagine that TAF has visited this before, I would hope.
I can't speak for everybody at TAP, but
I'm just saying, it's been a decade. It changed everything when it's changed, right? We all remember, elected officials had to not run again, right? It was a big deal, okay? And so what I'm saying is, I'm sure this is something that's been vetted, has been set as a standard. I'm sure there's other cities like us here in the donut that have had to flex off of this. So I don't think it's gonna take it's not rocket science it's something we should have been done. So what I'm saying is, we wanna move forward, but we don't want this to stall up with a whole bunch of things.
and I don't think it
So what I had hoped with this being a committee, so just as you guys, and I apologize, and I think we all need to do better then in getting information earlier, because we've all known that we've gotten some serious stuff to us, in this time. So what I'm saying is, let's not make a big deal out of this. I thought that you were gonna tell me something big on money, but you haven't, as far as,
Big as in time, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
that's relative.
time is money.
Time is money.
Time is money, so I'm saying if you need to hire, is this gonna make you hire another employee?
Perhaps. I mean, maybe this is, but this is a discussion that I think that we should have about what
Yeah.
it would take to fulfill the obligations that this ethics ordinance as presented, because it is Indianapolis's I mean, for the most part. There are a few minor changes, but this is Indianapolis's. And
Can we ask
we have all said, we're not Indianapolis.
So our council, I mean, does Carmel or Greenwood or Beech Grove or East Chicago or some of these other comparable cities may have those? I'm sure, do you have other clients? That's why I was asking with Taft, do you have other clients, cities that have? Right, so I'm just saying, we ain't got to duplicate Indianapolis. Indianapolis starts here. I'm sure other people have broke off of it. It's been 10 years. Get us something and let's get it done. And because we got other stuff to do next year, right? So let's
We
get it
will
here,
have a
get it done. And I don't think it's going to take all this to do.
I completely agree, Counselor. I think.
We will have a code of ethics, but we will give you time to review that. We'll bring you back to this committee, and we'll set a date and time for another committee of a whole meeting, okay? But it has to be done in public, okay?
Thank you, counselors.
Thank you, Counselor.
Madam
We'll
President,
table this, yes, sir,
I would like to make a motion that we table proposal number 7.
okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made. Thank you, Council.
Would you like a
Counselor,
red line?
yeah, one point. Do you
Yes.
want a red
Yes.
line version
Yes,
with
absolutely.
suggestions? Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, we'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay,
Thank you, Counselors.
oh. Vote. We'll take a vote now. Thank you,
Oh.
Council.
To table.
To table
Okay,
this,
okay,
yes.
Okay, I'll make sure, okay.
Thank you, pass. This has been tabled. Okay. Next, we will have under new business, resolution number 10, 2025, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, amending the Common Council rules and procedures. This resolution was referred to this committee by the council. Do councilors have any questions or comments?
Madam President. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the button.
Yes, Councilor Wells.
Anyway, I just want to repeat what I had said earlier. I just think that, about the, having someone being paid, and not being on more than one commission or board, and then someone that does business with the city or makes money on behalf of the city, should not be allowed to be on a commission or a board. I'd just like to throw that out there.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Wells. Anyone else has a comment on the council procedures? Yes, Councilor Giles, Chavis.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we table this as
Table.
well and address it when we address the proposal number 7.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought you pressed the button.
Thank you,
Just
councilors.
acknowledge
It's been motioned. And seconded. Now we will need to vote to table. Okay. Thank you, councilors. It's passed. This one has been tabled. We don't have any other business. This meeting is adjourned.